How's it going? This is Chris from Chris's Comments. Show about common sense on common grounds, no matter what the subject. Down here in San Antonio, Texas, we got a lot of people out there posting a lot of comments and everything, but very few people from this part of the world. And that's where this show's coming from. Today's subject is Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know how to enunciate her name, the first name, but so I'm just gonna drop the S. Ghislaine Maxwell, fourth charged against her for sex trafficking. I got a question though. Why is it taking so long? You know? Why is it taking so long to be? I mean, I'm sure we could all have learned our lesson with the first guy, Epstein. You know, put 2, 3, 4 guards on Maxwell. You know, and 8 billion security cameras. You know, live feed that, and let's make sure that she doesn't wind up hung in her own cell somehow. Off of her shoestrings and what have you. You know, what's the challenge? You know, why is it taking so long to get her? You know, when you've already caught this person and you're waiting for a trial or whatever, and it's taking this long, well, shouldn't that mean that she's ratting out people? I think it should, I think we should know, I think we should know. This is something that concerned President Bill Clinton, President Trump, and a prince from the UK, and God knows who else, They need to be taken down. They need to be taken out. Justice needs to be served. So why is it taking so long? Any other guy would have already gotten fired, would have gotten arrested. And except for Mark Geatz, I think his name was. We got a representative with a sex trafficking scandal right now. Matt Gaetz, I think his name was. Turns out he's been fooling around with a 17-year-old. And, of course, if she's under the age of 18, she's a minor. And he's been paying her way to whatever off location that he goes to. If he goes to a seminar or a convention or just a vacation or a weekend getaway, it turns out he's paying for her trip to meet up with him at those locations. Now the guy's saying that it's all a lie and it's all a scandal and it's all this and all that. We'll let the investigations prove that right or wrong, Thing is that the law is the law and it has to come down on everybody. And it's just especially important. The reason for this, to mentioning this, is because, we're talking about a politician. We're talking about a political leader. So it's even more important that the law comes down on that guy and every guy that's involved with sex trafficking. It just makes sense, And I'm saying that, to like everybody out there is like, true. But you got to understand, people out there are coming up with some theory and questions to stuff that's just so, cut and dry. And it doesn't make any sense. Now, to a little guy like me, to a guy that, doesn't even have a podcast, I'm just throwing these comments out there, seeing if anybody picks up. I'm just an average worker. And I'm, my job being a ride share, I get a lot of people back here. And what I'm saying is what they're saying. I agree with them completely. Enough is enough with the protection. Throw the cuffs on them. You know, enough is enough. And if they're gonna be scandalous and all this stuff, they're gonna be saying that it's a scheme and it's a conspiracy. They need to prove that crap. If they can't prove that crap, man, just throw them in jail. Just throw them in jail already. Now back to the more important one, Ghislaine Maxwell. Honestly, if she's not ratting everybody out, trying to get some kind of deal, dude, lock her up, please. There's already photographs. There's already people that have testified. There's 20 some odd number of people just off of Trump alone. There's a few with Clinton. You know, just throw them away already. You know, and I know that sounds a little harsh given that, you know, hey, they're presidents of the United States, and that's true. But they did their time. They served their country. Thank you so much. As far as thanking them, they got my gratuity. That's fine. But they did break the law. And they did do it before they were even president. You know? One of them back when he was just a TV personality. You know? Just throw him away. Lock the key. Lock him up and throw away the key already. And that Prince guy from the UK, man, throw him out. There are so many cousins that are next in line. You know, what's this one gonna hurt? What's this one guy gonna hurt? You know? Because it's not like he's in charge of morale. You know, he's not like some spiritual leader. Excuse me, he's not like he's some spiritual leader like a pope or something. Which technically the pope or whoever's in charge of moving all the priests around every time they go into a scandal, they should be thrown in jail too. That's coming from me, the Catholic. Yeah, it's just a serious thing to be brought up, and which also leads back to one of the other earlier statements concerning the children. This time concerning the children that have been trespassed against sexually down at the border by adult care, by the adult staff members who are blaming pubescent boys, you know, saying that it wasn't them, it was the kids that was raping other kids. You know, again, back to my original statement, if you haven't seen the video, that comment, I don't believe it. I don't believe freezing cold, starving kids who haven't seen the light of day while trapped inside a border patrol facility is doing anything remotely near sexual violations, unlike the adult staff members that have been caught on videotape, you know, roughing them up. You know, how far is it to believe that, how far off are we to believe that it was only a handful of workers that went and sexually trespassed against these children and not, you know, not a larger number? To top it all off, in various parts of the Southwest. We're not just talking about those guys that were caught on camera slapping them around and throwing them up against walls and stuff in Arizona. You know, there are 4 more states to look at. You know, you got California, New Mexico, you got Texas, and a little piece of, I think, Nevada. Despite the fact that that doesn't really connect to the border, but that's beside the point. You got the border patrol agents going over there too. You've got people being stripped there, and now we got them here in Texas. Now here in Texas, we got 13 to 17-year-old all boys, which again brings me back to everybody keeping an eye out on the border. Please try to see what roads these people are taking in order to transport and who's going to their exact destinations. Because right now it's just boys. Why the little girls and toddlers are being held at the border, I'm not really sure. But it's scary because you've got a sheriff in the state that Matt Gaetz was in Florida, who is actually assisting Matt Gaetz. And I forgot the guy's name, but he was a sheriff that was backing him up. Both of those men, the sheriff and that senator, that politician, were also Trump supporters, who was in charge, who had put his Stephen Miller in charge of caging children down at the border. Now, if you take a step back and look at this, it's a pretty serious connect the dots that were point of view, And remember, these cases were developed from as early as 2014, but as late as 2018. And that's just the ones that the Justice Department is willing to expose to the general public. There's more people. There were people that were still being held in captivity since those times, since as late as 2018. And now we have an influx of children. So you see the dilemma. Trump being the politician that was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and his wife Ghislaine Maxwell. It's a god-awful, ugly web if any of this stuff can be factually proven. Right now, everybody's on the hush-hush, if not just in full denial. And then you've got somebody like Gaetz himself that's throwing conspiracy, saying that it has nothing to do with anything at all. It has everything to do with somebody throwing some kind of false accusations and bribery and wiretaps and tapes of conversations that say that it was the wiretaps and that there was bribes and that it was all fake. So this kind of stuff is kind of got my curiosity as far as connecting the dots go. How far off am I? How far off is anybody out there who's thinking the same lines? Because so far, that whole Gaetz, this is a conspiracy, that's just a wild conspiracy. It's looking as stupid as it sounds. The whole bizwax where Biden is saying, hey, I know what's going on down there. I know everything that's going on there. I don't have to go see everything. I got a funny feeling certain charges might be brought up onto him not by participation, but by way of neglect. Crimes might be happening because everybody believes that it's older kids misbehaving with little kids. Excuse me. And Biden would be at fault because, he's not coming down at the border. He's not paying attention. He's not paying attention, despite the fact that he's telling all the public out there, hey, I'm on top of things. I'm on top of everything. And that's just a train wreck. I can already feel the tension right here. That's just a train wreck already ready to happen. It's just not even going to be a surprise once we find out that stuff has been going on under Biden's watch. And that's without all the people that already believe that he's been guilty, that he was a part of Pizzagate, that he was with the Clintons, that he was, despite the fact that there's no proof of that, that he was with Epstein because Hunter Biden, or one of his sons, bought an island that was just down the ways from Epstein's island. Despite the fact that the guy couldn't afford to keep it, go figure. That could be it. That could have been it. He probably chose to stick with his drug habits. But the fact of the matter was is that Biden's son couldn't keep the island, so he sold it, and then went back up north. So there's, and again, all these facts here that literally show who is who and who might be involved and who's not, and all this good stuff still might be thwarted once Ghislaine Maxwell starts talking. Once it's proven that there is no bribery, and Matt Gaetz over in Florida, and that sheriff that backs him up and saying, no, he's telling the truth, there's a bribe scandal going on. Once it's proven that it's not, and he's got the spotlight on him, he's in that interrogation room, the next question is, how long will it be till that guy cracks? Either or, the sheriff or the politician. A little bit of time has to be taken, because in this case, time is the only thing that's actually going to tell. Who's going to be ratting out who is beyond me. If I had to put money on it, I'd have to say the two dudes in Florida, the sheriff and the politician, they're a piece of cake. Honestly, I think if pressure is going to, couple of weeks in the hole is going to have them, singing like canaries, But you've got political leaders, you've got accessories to sex scandals with those political leaders, and then you've got the policies and procedures that go with handling issues, subjects, in certain matters. You got all those procedures and everything that are being run by the political leaders and their aides, accessories, that have these sex scandals, that have these marks against them. They have these scandals being held against them. It's a huge concern. It's very very questionable as to whether or not some stuff is going on underneath our nose, when, how, and it's a bit of a concern. How far do we take this trust? Do we trust them at all? Because we know we can't turn it away. We know we can't tell, the people, like they're being told, don't arrive at the border. Yeah, but we still have a procedure and a policies to uphold and withhold and enhance and not enhance, to perform, to enforce in our responsibilities. And I do apologize for these pauses. It's just that I'm fumbling right now because I didn't pre-write anything. A lot of my stuff is pre-written before I come on board. It's just that I got the news just a little bit before bedtime last night. I woke up, went straight to work. I'm now on break, and here we are. And I really had not had a chance to, prep. And the reason for that is because of all these pauses that I'm doing, and a few stumbles. So this particular matter concerning the latest of Ghislaine Maxwell and other political leaders, I'm quite curious as to whether or not there might be evidence of Matt Gaetz actually participating the same way that Trump did, the same way that Clinton did at Epstein's Island, or even at Mar-a-Lago, or even at Trump Towers in Chicago. Apparently there was somebody that was doing something. Trump was doing something with a 14-year-old there as well. Has Geatz gone to that hotel in Ukraine that Donald Trump went to? Has Geatz gone to the same Ukrainian hotels that Trump's lawyer has gone to, where it's socially accepted to marry a 15-year-old over there in the Ukraine? Marry a 15-year-old, not necessarily have sex with. There's a parental consent to marriage there, and that rule of thumb has been coerced into thinking it's okay to get physical with a 15-year-old, despite the fact that some of these claims are saying that they've been under the age of 15, and that it's not marriage that they went over there for, that it was, sex. So, I'd like to know where Geatz comes up with these ideas, because so far he's saying it's the government. He's a part of the government. He's a political leader in the government, And then that sheriff, that cop, that's saying, oh yeah, he's innocent, I can vouch. Really? Uh-huh. I personally think a very good, strong investigation needs to be done. And I honestly believe that it should be done on every single one of these followers that say that they can vouch for him. And all the people that say, believe him because it's all a lie, they go into a conspiracy and all this stuff. Conspiracy theories are very entertaining. Ancient aliens is proof of that. Every single ancient site was built, is a launch site, is a launch pad. Okay, now that sounds stupid, but when you dive into it, each and every one of these articles that you're reading and each and every one of those segments that you're watching on the History Channel, you want a bowl of popcorn while you're you want that popcorn while you're watching this stuff, It's entertaining, I ain't gonna lie. Conspiracy theories are entertaining. However, it's total BS, and there should be some kind of charge given to these people who think that it's okay to try to use it to manipulate the public, to try to manipulate a judgment call in a court of law. The financial statements are there, guy. The financial statements are there. There's security footage at every one of those airports. What are the odds that you go onto his phone or his computer and there won't be any videotape? I mean, come on. He's a political leader, and he's been walking for however many decades this guy's been a political leader, somewhere in the middle of Florida, with a 17-year-old for several years. Oh, come on. There's pictures, man. There's pictures. But to get away from to get away from the fun with that, we got some serious dots to connect. And I'm hoping that it's connected and the truths and the facts are revealed. Godspeed. And that it just gets us another step closer to getting rid of all this, all the badness, and restarting with some fresh new attempts towards the right way. of living, towards the righteousness. That's pretty much it that I wanted to discuss right now. There's a Biden infrastructure plan that's going to be coming up later on today, and I'm going to watch that and throw out the opinion of this little guy on the net there. Throw my comments out there, because as we all know, there's already a side chosen, and it's done by, it's done by commentators all the way up to the media. There's a side chosen, and the last thing that anybody's doing is just taking a step back and looking at the whole situation. So that's where this comment comes from. This commentary comes from a guy working, striving through the high costs of living, no differently than any of you out there. And I hope that this helps, and I hope that every time I surf to see anybody else's comments, especially somebody that's in the same chair as I am, I hope to see and hear from you more, because I'm constantly here. I meet a lot of people, but my job has me driving around for so long that I hardly ever get to meet up with people. At the end of the day, after looking at so many lane lines on the road, I'm usually just trying to wind down and unwind, and at the end to the point of resting. And that's where your comments helps. I love watching everything that all of you have to say, and I prefer somebody like myself that doesn't really take a side. Has already made up his or her mind. But it is what it is. So from San Antonio through this one working man's perspective out there, I hope you enjoyed this comment. I apologize for all the uhs and the stumps and the stutters and the pauses. I apologize for that. I'll try to do better next time. Y'all take care. Stay safe. Keep cool. Try to get those shots if you're vaxxer. Try to get your hydroxychloroquine if you're not. Whatever it is whatever it is that helps you keep going. Y'all stay safe. Keep cool. Chris out.